Usyk versus Dubois. I got Usyk winning by 80%, Dubois 20%. The keys to victory for Usyk are that he's a tricky fighter. He uses feints. He isn't greedy with his punches. He's in and he's out. 1-2 kind of thing. And above all, his toughness, his ring IQ, his agility, and his speed and stamina as a smaller heavyweight is really what allows him to thrive. And also a little hidden fact here is that his punches aren't as like ferocious, and he's not sitting on them as much. So this allows him to throw punches en masse, if you will, without expending too much energy. And for Dubois, well, we know Dubois is a very strong starter, but he gets tired at around round 5-ish. And, he does have dynamite in both hands, hence his nickname Dynamite Dubois. But, you know, when he does swing, he's a little wide, and, it telegraphs pretty easily. So that's not very good, especially against an agile Usyk. So let's dive into it, guys. We're gonna start off with Usyk. So here you're gonna see back in their first fight how Usyk, he likes to move around. He likes to throw feints. He likes to keep his lead hand out. You see how he's like jumping in and out, and he's able to play with Dubois. He's able to play. You see how he also does this amazing thing where he basically like he circles his hand over and like a loop. So he goes to the head, then he goes to the body, and then sometimes he does that loop thing just to see what you're gonna do, just to react, just to see how you're gonna react. Sorry, and it's a very cool thing. It's a very high level technique, and if you also notice, he's not he's always stays within his range. Like Usyk is an amazing high level IQ fighter. He always seems to know his opponent's range from he always needs to know. He always knows where he needs to be, and without getting hit. Like for the most part. Okay, like he's really good at that. So let's keep looking here, and you'll see how look, just a simple step back, simple step back. See, and he resets, and he look. You see how he reset? Look, he resets, and look, bam. He knows exactly where he needs to be. So that way he's literally just ever so slightly away from Dubois' punch. So it's so easy to evade, and he can come back. And he does this and he knows he can get away with it because he's actually a much lighter heavyweight than the rest. And he's much more agile. So look, effortlessly able to evade any punch, any retaliation shot, pretty much any counter. Not that Dubois even throws many counters, but see, easy stuff. High level defense right here, and you see, he's always playing with that jab, with that lead hand, to see what his opponent's reaction is. If you see, look, he's gonna do the loop thing. See, there you go. See, he always does it, and it's amazing technique. It's an amazing thing to do if you're quick enough to do it and if you're agile enough to do it. So the next thing is, I said that Usyk wasn't greedy, and I mean, you could have saw in the other video that I showed you that he just throws, basically he goes in and he throws like 1 or 2 shots at a time. And look, he throws his feints, but it's just 1 shot at a time. Same thing here, you're gonna see he just throws his 1 shot at a time, and when he finds his rhythm or an opening, he'll throw another one. But he's not greedy with his shots. He's not like most fighters where, you see, he's not like most fighters where, once they start fighting and they get within the range, they stay there. They try to like chase him down. They try to stay within the range and do whatever, like a pressure fighter, inside fighter. Nah, Usyk goes in, throws 1, maybe 2, and then he's out. And then he goes out. That's it. And that's how he wins. He just wins by small engagements like that. And it's really cool to see. And obviously here you're gonna see like that. See, well, that's his defense there, but yeah, See, one shot, one or two shots, and he stays within range. You see what he did? He didn't rush Dubois there. That's what I mean. He's not greedy. Look, throws one. Maybe he staggered Dubois. Maybe he didn't. Well, he did, but you know, like in the moment, you're not too sure. But look, he stays composed, calm, and focused. And look, doesn't get carried away. He automatically realizes not to rush in, not to go for the body or, try to do some ridiculous hooks to the head or whatever. He stops himself right here and says, look, okay, regained ground. I took the center of the ring. The man is backed up. And now he's still within my range. And, well, he's still within my range of fire. And I'm only ever so slightly, like, a few, like, centimeters away from just evading one of his punches or a retaliation shot. So check this out. But you'll see, stops, look, stops, boom. Now he's back, look, see, back within range. And you see, even if Dubois hits him, he's able to roll off with the punch. It's crazy. High level stuff, very, very high level stuff. And here you'll see, Usyk doesn't throw with max KO power. He's one of those guys that, he throws with speed and agility and finesse and technique rather than loading up with power. And what this does is this allows him to not only get his punch out quicker, but it also comes out less detected because it's more fluid. There's not as much telegraph there. As you can see, it's more fluid. He's moving and throwing. Like, it's hard to tell. And also what this also does is it plays into his ability to be faster than his opponent. So if you see, Usyk is always able to level change. He's always throwing, that lead hand. He's feinting it. He's looping it around. He's doing all these fancy things. Why is he able to do that even in round 10? Or even in the late, from the early rounds, the mid rounds to the later rounds? Why is he able to do that? Because he's not throwing with much ferocity. There's no loading up here. There's not a lot of loading up here. And obviously, if some of you guys boxed before or fought and stuff like that, you know that when you load up your punches, not only are they wider and, they're more telegraphed, but they drain you. So this drains him a lot less. His stamina stays up, and his speed is by default he's able to stay agile the whole fight, and so he doesn't really lose much speed. And one interesting thing about Usyk is that even in the later rounds, like when he got hit below the belt by Dubois, and even fighting Fury, he's able to turn on the jets despite going many rounds. He's able to turn on the jets in round 10 to secure a win if need be. He's always able to do that. Why? Because he doesn't exhaust himself too much. See, he's fluid, level changes, tricky fighter, very tricky fighter, and that's how I see him beating Dubois, by just level changing. He's gonna level change, throw that feint as he usually did, keep Dubois at bay, so Dubois is not going to be able to get to his inside to throw his vicious hooks. And then on top of that, whenever Dubois gets him on the ropes, Usyk is just going to circle out. He's not going to live there. He's not going to stay there. He's not going to shoulder roll it. That's not his style. He's going to go back, circle out, and get the center of the ring. That's Usyk. Classic Usyk. Great footwork. Amazing stuff. And he's a very agile fighter. And all I just see Usyk doing is just feinting, popping jabs, and going in the later rounds to throw, more of his series of combinations on the money, where it hurts Dubois on the chin and sometimes to the body. But he's gonna be playing with Dubois like he does with a lot of fighters that he fights, or pretty much everyone he's ever fought. Usyk plays with them, and what I mean by play, I mean he does mind tricks, level changes, feints, footwork, the illusion that he's in front of you, that you can hit him, but he's really just centimeters away from your range, because he's just a master at knowing his range and your range. Very smart guy, very great fighter. Always a pleasure to watch. Now, Dubois. So like I said, Dubois, strong starter. Horrible finisher though. Strong starter. And he's got dynamite in both hands. So here you'll see one of his more recent fights with AJ. You see, you see, you see how wide he's swinging, and you see how he's able to push AJ back like that. He's only able to do that because AJ isn't as agile and he doesn't move as defensively as he should have. But he's a big guy, so it's tough. But Usyk won't be doing this. Usyk is not doing this. The moment he tries to do this, he's already out. And Usyk wouldn't even wouldn't allow this from Dubois. He wouldn't allow this type of behavior or this kind of pressure from Dubois because he's throwing feints and constant jabs, not only at the head but at the body. And even when he's not throwing jabs, he his arm, like his jab hand, is like this most of the time. That was a horrible drawing, but his jab hand is sort of like this. Okay, so this is his jab hand, and it's sort of like a Lennox Lewis in a way, where Lennox Lewis also had his jab hand sort of extended, so it gets to reach his opponent faster, and it also it covers more distance for you, right? Like instead of stiff arming, which you're technically not really allowed to do, it sort of gives you the benefits of both worlds, where you're able to still keep your opponent somewhat at bay, more at bay than if you had your you know your sorry, there's a lot of drawing here. Like rather if you had your hands tucked in, maybe I should, yeah, your hands tucked in like this. But if AJ had his hands tucked out more like this, like a Lennox Lewis, Dubois wouldn't be able to do all this stuff so easily, especially because your jab is so close and in range, right? Like it's a high level technique, and you have to have good range to do it, and or good arm length to do it, and good reach. I meant, and AJ has it, but I don't know, he fights very textbook style. Each their own, right? Styles make fights, but yeah. So what we see here is Dubois really thriving with the fact that AJ doesn't move as defensively and as quickly, and he doesn't give himself the distance that he needs to be the big man that he should be. And so you'll see that. You see, there's no jab. His arms are very tucked in, and it's very bad, especially for a big man. See, no jabs, no popping jabs, no nothing. AJ is just allowing him to come in, and he doesn't. You see, his hands, even if it's off the reset, there's no bounce in his step, and his hands are tucked away. Never. Usyk, Lennox Lewis, a lot of fighters who use their range would have their hand like this. This would prevent Dubois or any pressure fighter from just rushing in freely, like as Dubois does, or was doing here in this fight. So there's that. And I guess we'll just finish it there. Yeah. Look at that. I'm on the ropes. Right where Dubois wants you. So the next thing is that, although Dubois can't really fight properly off the back foot, like he's horrible at fighting off the back foot, but, he always finds success or he did find success in his fight with Usyk when he did go to the body. So when he did threaten Usyk to the body, as we're seeing now, these were the times when Usyk sort of fell off his game plan and wasn't himself. Well, I shouldn't say wasn't himself, but he had a much harder time dealing with Dubois because Usyk seems to hate going to the body, which most fighters do, and everyone does, especially if you ever got hit to the liver before, or on the solar flex. It really sucks. And takes all the wind out of you. And this is actually a super highly effective strategy against Usyk because he's a speedster. He's got stamina. He's fast. He's agile. What's the best way to do that? Take away his legs. Hit the body. But I don't know what Dubois' game plan is going to be coming into this fight. But if I was in his corner, if I'm in Dubois' corner in his camp, I'm training going to the body all day and level changing. I'm telling Dubois, okay, maybe you throw a couple jabs to offset him to raise his guard like this, to call on the high guard from Usyk because that's what he likes to do. And but besides that, I'm taking advantage of this open real estate right here, uh, which is Usyk's body. And also, because I know Usyk throws, right? But it's not with life-threatening one punch KO power. And I know this. And I know he's a legend. And I know he's going to be moving in and out and left and right. And he's going to be throwing his feints and doing the circle thing and all that with his hand. I know he's going to be doing this. And I know the odds are stacked against me. So why not just eat one or two that I know aren't going to knock me out, especially if I have a guard up, and just swing for the body, go for the body. Just do it. I don't know why he he didn't try this in this fight, and I hope that's what his corner is going to tell him to do to make it a much more competitive fight. Because if he's not going to do that, we're just going to get a repeat. We're going to get a repeat basically of what happened in the first fight, minus the low blow and minus any impressive little series that Dubois had, because Usyk already figured him out. Usyk knows him. See, circled him out. Usyk is not staying there like Joshua was. Joshua was living on those ropes. Joshua stayed here and called for the clinch. That's a big no-no with a power puncher like Dubois. You don't want to do that. You don't even want to be near the ropes. You don't even want to stay there. Like, the only time this is a smart move, it's a tactical move. What he's doing here is Usyk lured him to the rope, which is fine because Dubois wasn't even trying to pin him there. He didn't pin him there as effectively as he should have, but Usyk saw the space right away and, okay, no, I'm going out to get the center of the ring. And now look what this does. This forces Dubois to be on the back foot if Usyk wants to, press him here. And it's a beautiful strategy. Because look, now guess who's on the ropes? It's you. It's Dubois who's on the ropes. Well, or at least closer to the ropes. But Dubois is sort of smart. He's trying to hold his ground because he knows he can't fight off the back foot. See? He can't fight off the back foot very well. But he's doing his best. And also he's doing some very smart punches right there, which is hitting Usyk's body, but it takes a lot more than that just to mess with Usyk. So, and back here you'll see, Dubois has dynamite in his hands, but, very wide. You see how wide that stuff, how wide? Like, he's off center, he's off balance here, but look how telegraphed this is. Dropped. And I know some of you are going to be like, well, it's in the middle of the fight, blah, blah, blah. I know, but high-level fighters can see this. Very high. I think even Tyson Fury saw it looking at me. He's like, oh, man, that's way too goddamn wide. I would have saw that. But, yeah. Let's go. See? Wide. Just wide. It's just wide. It only caught Joshua because Joshua wasn't moving as defensively, and also Joshua had his hands down, and also Joshua, I don't know, for some reason isn't trying to jab and maintain space. So you never want to do that against a pressure fighter. You always want to jab and maintain your space and to keep moving defensively, so that way you don't get caught with things like that and you don't allow them to rush you. Very big mistake. Very big. No. But, AJ's still a legend in his own right. God bless him. And he'll still do some great things. So, that's how I have it, guys. I think it's going to go the full distance. I really don't see Usyk knocking him out, or, maybe Dubois will take a knee here and there in the later rounds, but I don't see it being a TKO. I think it's going to go the whole way. Majority decision for Usyk. Dubois has a 20% chance, in my opinion, to end the fight early. If it goes a distance, for sure it's going to Usyk, but, Dubois can end the fight early. How could he end the fight early? As I said, going to Usyk's body, feinting to the head, or even going sometimes jabbing to the head, and putting a little sting. Take the sting out your punches, man. Like, if I was Dubois in Dubois' corner, like I said, take the sting out of his punches, make them less telegraphed than what they normally are, and give yourself the chance to fight the good fight in the later rounds. Don't gas yourself out, and round 6, you're tired and you don't know what to do. So, yep, that's how I have it, guys. Let me know how you guys have it, and have yourself a great day.